Welcome to the Self Express broadcast. Welcome to the Self Express podcast. Now saying broadcast is kind of like second nature to me. But we're gonna talk about the broadcast in a minute. But no, this is the Self Express podcast. So this is where we have a safe space of self expression where we're gonna pretty much talk about anything that's on our mind, anything that our self expression pretty much leads us to talk about. And today's topic, I actually wanted to talk about the idea of just starting. And I have to bring up this podcast specifically because I was having a hard time trying to figure out what episode is going to sound great as the first episode. What will I talk about? What will the name be? What will XYZ look like with this podcast? And I had to come to terms that some of my projects honestly have come from the spirit of just starting or just putting it out there. Like I've created visuals to songs that have took me like hours to edit, and I'm like, do I still like it? Whatever, put it out anyways. It's that attitude of just saying fuck it and just going after it, or just releasing it, or just starting, or just doing that one step. And sometimes all it does take is just that one step, is um just to execute, just to go, just to do it. And I love how we just jumped straight into the topic, and I didn't even introduce myself. So my name is Ethan. um my name is Ethan, and I'm also known as Black Boy Magic, who is creating a safe space of self expression. And if you see my sweatshirt that says self express, yes, this is mine, which you can find on my website. I sell clothes that represents self expression, and we pretty much talk about, and I pretty much encourage you, like, whatever is your form of expression that brings you a sense of happiness and peace or bliss, that's your form of expression. And so this is actually my expression today, because this is actually making me very happy to actually be doing this. And I am so excited to be bringing you the Self Express podcast, just out of spirit of just wanting you to hear my voice. No, I'm just kidding. But no, just as a just I love starting new projects. I love um seeing what else I can do to continue to expand, to continue to grow. And this podcast was actually one of those things that I thought about. I'm like, why don't I just start a podcast? Like, that sounds. I feel like the Self Express podcast would be something. So, um, here I am today, and I am honestly doing this out of sheer faith, because yes, it is something that I wanted to do, but I'm not trying to overthink what the steps are gonna look like. I'm not trying to overthink what how it's gonna happen or anything like that. I'm in a stage in my life where I'm trying to release anything that does not belong to me, like doubt, fear, second guessing, overthinking. Like I'm trying to, well, I'm not trying, but I am definitely breaking those barriers for myself, and this was one of those steps that I had to take. And that's why I went to the topic so fluently, because I've been literally like sitting on this, I feel like. But it's just something that I had to do. And the same goes for you. Like, whatever that idea is, whatever you want to do, whatever you've been thinking about all year or a couple months or a few weeks, whatever has been on your mind, bro, just do it. And honestly, that's how my business came about anyways, was just doing it. I saw my mom, actually, she started her business off of Amazon, selling clothes. And I'm like, I want to do that same thing too. Like, I want to try selling some clothes. And so I just did it, and I just kept being consistent with it. And then here we are. I feel like I have um a strong sense of what my brand looks like, just out of starting and just out of staying consistent with it. So um, and honestly, that goes for the same as pole dancing for me, because yes, I am a pole dancer. Okay, pole dancing is one of my main ways of expression, but it's not the only way. Okay, trust and believe. But and if you want to see some of my pole videos, you can follow me on Instagram at Blackboymagic19, and on TikTok at Ethan's Own. Oh, I almost said .com, but that is my website. So let me spell it out for you. It's ETHANSOWNE. That's my TikTok and also my website. But no, so yeah, just going into pole dancing. I just remember telling my friend, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go pole dancing. Like, do you know any pole studios? And I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. So to me, talking about pole dancing in Cleveland, Ohio, honestly, was like the last thing that I thought I'd ever talk about because I don't know any pole studios in Cleveland. Like, what's up? So I told her, and I'm like, yeah, I really want to try this. Do you know any studios? And she told me where to go. And I went to my first class ever. And yeah, like it's just been, it's just been that's like its own journey, and that's just from the idea of just starting, just doing something, just executing, just going for it. um but I want to talk about like my business and how it like came about. So I had my business launch party in 2019 um with my mom. She had bought my LLC, and she pretty much got my website together to like what it would look like. um and that was like the start of just my business journey on a whole nother level. Prior to that, I was selling on Amazon. I was making like t-shirt designs, really really simple, and just putting them on Amazon. And then the business launch party had came after. And then when I in between that time, I was learning how to drop ship. I was learning how to manage a website, build the website actually, and doing all these intricate little things concerning website development. And so after my business launch party, um, I just honestly, I didn't really have a clear vision for my business. I just knew I wanted to keep going in it. And so the more I kept going, the more like it was one time it just represented anything. And I say anything just because I was just putting words on t-shirts. Like that's really it. But then it transitioned into representing Black people in the LGBT community, which was a really fun phase for me, not gonna lie, just because I feel like then I was getting more into designing. And that was when I was in my photo Photoshop. Yeah, Photoshop. Um and I was designing and putting it on t-shirts, and I was, oh man, that was so much fun. And that was actually my first time buying in bulk too, because I had bought these sweatpants and I had designed a rainbow in Photoshop that had the African American colors on it, and I put it on sweatpants. I put it on everything actually, but I actually bought in bulk sweatpants just to, like, just for the sake of risk. And yeah, just thinking about that, I'm like, yeah, I was having fun. I was just trying to discover and just trying to start something. Um, and so now, fast forward, I had walked away from my business for a little while. Couldn't tell you why. I just didn't post. I didn't think about it. I just didn't do anything concerning with it. And then I went into quarantine in 2021, like the end of 2021. And the more I was creating content while in quarantine, um, the more the idea of self expression came up. And I'm like, self express. That sounds really interesting. And then in 2022, um, I went with the idea of self expression. And I know that last part may sound like I just jumped from one phase to another, but that's literally how I feel like it happened. Um, Thinking about it and talking about it now, like I've always been a creative and I've always been creating content, like no matter what. So I just found like that little hidden gem as to why I was creating content. And it was because when everything else failed, like art was always my go to. And art has always been my escape, no matter what it was, whether it was playing the piano, singing, whether it was editing, creating, whatever it was, or just having photo shoots. And so I found myself executing my messages or whatever I wanted to say to the world at that time. I found that to be my form of expression, whether it was good or trying to relate to how we were all in quarantine or whatever it was. I was always creating. And in 2022, I really stuck with that message. In 2022, I had a lot more growth and just like, man, it was great. Um, from doing vendor events to um, buying in more bulk and really enhancing my skills in pole dancing, because 2022 was when like I got into pole dancing. um yeah, at the very beginning. Actually, my 2-year anniversary is coming up because I'm recording this on December 12th, and my pole anniversary is coming up in like January. So yeah, it's been almost 2 years. And um just in 2022, like I was really diving into pole dancing and my business. And so I was just in, again, from the idea of just starting and just doing something and just getting it out there, like no matter what. um I feel like that's really where I thrive, and it doesn't really have to look like a finished, or it doesn't have to look like a quote unquote finished product, or it doesn't have to look the most professional. But I definitely was like giving my all, and I definitely pull some resources together to make sure that my shit looks up to par. But um you do your best and you execute, and then you release it, and then you see what happens. And that's where I feel like I'm at right now, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it sounds like. Because I'm not gonna lie, doing the Self Express broadcast with my Self Express crew, like I'm realizing I don't have to talk to the mic so closely. I don't have to talk, like so up close and personal. Like the mic is actually a really solid mic. um so it's just like understanding that the journey is actually pretty fun. And I'm saying that now. But you couldn't tell me this before, because girl, I would be looking at you like, the process, like I'm trying to get to this, I'm trying to get to that goal, I'm trying to get to this, that, and the third, like fuck the process. But one thing I've learned about this year is that the process is honestly what makes the the journey. It really does, it really is about the journey. And because I've also learned that no amount of anything, like you can reach a goal, but it won't necessarily bring you like the happiness that you're looking for. And this is gonna sound cliche, but I don't care how it sounds, because it is the truth. Like you gotta find happiness within yourself. And honestly, I feel like I found Jesus this year, so my happiness is like with Him, truthfully. Um, and just that level of contentment and peace of mind is something that you can't find in any goal. Like your contentment really is in the here and the now. Girl, we about to go into a whole different conversation, but no, just um just embracing that idea for me um has been a game changer. And I have no complaints, and that's actually what brings me here today, just to talk to y'all and just to express what's been on my mind lately. um yeah. Yeah, I really just wanted to talk to y'all. And this is me, like with content in general and just with a camera. I'm like, I'm just gonna pick up the camera and whatever happens, happens. And sometimes, look, not even sometimes, like most of the time, I get some really beautiful content for myself. And if it's not for the internet, it's definitely for myself. Like I'm like, I just love I just love recording. If you ask any of my people that are close to me, they will tell you I'm literally always recording. But yeah, I think that's really all I really want to express to y'all for the day. Is just to just start, like whatever that idea is, and don't wait either. Don't wait until the perfect time. Don't wait until like that person or that opportunity or that circumstance changes. Like just fucking start. Like you never know what you will get out of it, and you never know what you'll learn about yourself in that moment. And you never know who else you're inspiring, and you never know for yourself um what you'll be getting out of it. So just start that idea. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to really talk about to y'all. But this is the Self Express podcast. Oh my, I said it again. The Self Express broadcast. This is the Self Express podcast. This is gonna be a tongue twister. Okay, get used to it. This is the Self Express podcast, and we're gonna be here. Okay, we're gonna talk about some shit, and I'm really excited to really bring this to y'all and just to talk. Like, yes, yes, I'm excited. So I'm gonna end it right here because this has been my expression, and I want to ask you, how did you express yourself today?